So, anyways, let me say this before I start. I've been a Pokemon fan for a while. In 2007, I first got a copy of Pokemon Pearl. In 2008, I made this YouTube channel, and then eventually I started to get out of it, but what really caused me to get out of it was Black and White. Those games were bad. So, when they made sequels, I wasn't too excited. I mean, sure, they were bad. Black and White was just linear, walking a path to win garbage. The character design wasn't all that great, and the graphics blew, and the worst part was, why didn't they even make it for the 3DS? Nintendo's trying to sell a new system, so why wouldn't they make it for the 3DS? Because that would sell more. It's like if they made Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 or Call of Duty 4 for the PS2. You just don't do it, and it holds your game back. So, what drove them to make this game? I don't even know. Probably they just wanted to cash in quickly on Generation 5 before the original DS started bombing, but let's start the review, shall we? So basically, the first thing you'll notice when you start the game is continuing the tradition of every other third version and stuff. This game uses the same engine as the last time. It even has the same intro screen, considering they'd always change it up for every Pokemon game, but yeah. Basically, the plot of this game is Team Plasma is back. The issue region had some shit happen, or Unova. Sorry, I have to use the correct English name. But, yeah. Some stuff has happened there 2 years after the original, and basically that's really it. The Team Plasma is even lamer. They, absolutely look like Team Rocket. They're not even the same. And the whole game is just walk forward to win. Just like Black and White. I thought they couldn't top Black and White, but somehow they managed to. How? So, when you start the game, you'll be greeted with the usual thing every Pokemon game greets you with. Hi, I'm Professor blah blah blah, and there's some Pokemon. You're in the world of Pokemon, blah blah blah. It hasn't even changed since Red and Blue. It's like, but at this point it's supposedly a tradition, but it's like they're too scared to change even that stuff up. Other than the graphics, of course. You ask if you're a boy or girl, you put your name in, blah blah blah. You can put anything as long as it isn't blocked by the word filter, but then again, it doesn't always check, so you could put something else, and it'll accept it, as you can see. Even though it will be blocked on the GTS to protect you from the children. Yeah. So, from the beginning of the game, you can already tell this game is going to be forcing you to a bad story. Because after all, the Pokemon story writing has never been good. Just go look at the anime. Basically, you start off in some town, and you have to basically get to the end of the game, or path, by beating the Elite Four, which is incredibly easy, as usual, and beating the champion and shit. Well, from what I know, like in Black and White, they might have changed it up this game, but honestly, who cares? It's still the same basic game. From this forced cutscene that lasts several minutes, which you cannot skip, you can already tell this game is going to be forced. Unlike Pokemon Red and Blue, which just spawned you in the world, this has a long, drawn-out intro. And at this point in time, it just feels like they're forcing it. And in fact, you just walk in a line, and they just hand you everything. Oh, you've gotten to this point. Here are your running shoes. Here's this, here's that, here's a forced cutscene, here's a forced rival battle. And if you try to explore, you gotta get a gym badge first. Pretty much sealing the fact that this game is linear. So, I've talked about how much I absolutely hate the bland storyline, which is mostly a rehash of Black and White ones. Let's talk about the gameplay. The battle system is the exact same as in Black and White, Ruby, Sapphire, Gold and Silver, Diamond and Pearl, Red and Blue, you'll name it, it's got the exact same battle system. Because Game Freak is too afraid to change up the battle system. I mean, come on. Can you at least take a risk? I mean, sure, I'd rather have a game develop and change than it just staying the same way as it was in 1996. Yes, people, they've been rehashing the same game since 1996. The battle system is the exact same as in every other JRPG ever made. You get into a battle, you attack, you always win, and you can use items to do stuff. The only differentiator is that Pokemon has a multiplayer mode. So you can go on multiplayer and destroy little kids who pretend that Pokemon is MLG competitive XX No Scope 360 XX Halo Call of Duty whatever. Because seriously, they have tiers for each individual Pokemon, and most of the time only certain ones get used, and only certain items. No fun allowed. Instead of messing around, you absolutely have to play by their rules. Boring as hell. And yeah. Which brings us to our next part. Graphics. You see, the Nintendo DS is a weak system, and apparently they decide to use the most low-resolution sprites they could find. So the Pokemon sprites are all that tiny. And then they just upscale them so they look pixelated. Not only is this not pleasing to the eye, but there is tons of interlacing if it's being played on an original DS. And trust me, there are still a ton of original DSs out there, because they're dirt cheap, but that's another topic. So yeah, the game just looks bad. And not only that, but they were using the same engines Black and White, which, if anybody has played Diamond and Pearl before, it's just a modified version of that engine. So they're still using a modified old engine, and in the Diamond and Pearl engine, there are still a few leftovers from Ruby and Sapphire, such as a music track. So yeah, it's already being reused. Wow. So what about the core gameplay itself? It's fun, but Black and White 2 is a poor implementation. From the bad graphics to the forced cutscenes, you might as well go get a used copy of Ruby and Sapphire or Diamond and Pearl. Those are better games, unless you're one of those, oh my god, I must have the newest game type. In which case you can still get by just by owning your copy of Black and White. If all you do is competitive stuff, you could just ask somebody to trade those Pokemon. Go into like a chat room or ask your friend who wasted his money on it to trade you it. And yeah. And did I mention that Pokemon is basically, other than the trading mechanic where you can trade Pokemon with other games and the multiplayer battling, is just another JRPG? It basically is. They just, instead of buying items for a single character, you can just catch different characters. So basically, it's just a generic JRPG. It's not fun at all. I can't believe I used to be really into this series, but Black and White really ruined it. Don't buy this game. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more.